Well, it's lovely having Nomzamo in studio with us. Well, listen, if you're a parent, listen up, because Ewan gets the opportunity to sit down with occupational therapist and now author Jacqui Couper to talk about her new parenting book on early childhood development.
So next up on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, we're focusing on our young ones. Now, in each unique phase of a child's development, each past experience links like a puzzle, molding them into the person that they are today. Now, emotional, social, and physical development of young children has a direct effect on their overall development and on the adult that they will become. Now, Jacqui Couper, she's an occupational therapist. She's written a book called The Precious Years, a guide to early childhood development that aims to equip parents with the knowledge that they will need to properly monitor the progress of their children. And she joins us in studio today to give a little bit of advice to us parents. Jacqui, lovely to have you in studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Can we just say from the get-go that I think being a parent is probably one of the hardest jobs out there, one of the most stressful as well.
You are correct.
Listen, but it's all fun as well. I mean, having kids is an absolute blessing. But parents, we can never have too much knowledge. And this is why I'm so grateful about this book. We'll get into it in just a second, but you've been an occupational therapist for over 10 years now. What led you to writing this specific book?
I worked in a rural area some years ago and did a survey on how many disabled children there were, and realized that there are far too many for the number of therapists in this country, and decided that if I'm going to make a difference as an occupational therapist, I better start young, because I realized that the early years are really the formative years. And then working in that field, I discovered that parents assume a lot of things about child development and really don't know a lot. Yeah. So that led me to actually writing the book.
And I think that's great, because it just opens up our eyes as parents as to how we need to look at our children, because they also have minds of their own. They experience things completely different than we do as grown-ups, as adults. So we're talking about those developmental years, the early parts of the stage of a child's life. How important is that, and what kind of impact can that have for the child growing up into an adult?
Those early years are critical, and I think that's why I've called the book The Precious Years, because they are just the precious years. They're the foundation years for future life, and foundation in emotionally, physically, stimulation in all areas. They're just the precious years.
Yeah, and they are so precious. You need to try and grasp those years and really make the most out of them to make sure that you raise a solid child. So in terms of us parents, I mean, what are some of the most common mistakes that we make within those early years?
Well, it's a busy time for parents, but we need to understand that children develop in their own sequence, and just appreciate each step for what it is. And I think emotionally is probably the most important. If we keep our children happy, we have children who can discover and explore and learn, and yeah. And
we need to allow them to be able to do that, to discover and explore. Jacqui, it's great having you with us this morning, and we're going to get into more of the book a little bit later on this morning, but where can people get their hands on it?
Any good bookstore, and also on the internet through Random Strake ebooks.
All right, I love that for us modern parents. Perfect. All right, well, stick around with us. We'll be back with Jacqui a little bit later on, giving very valuable advice to you parents out there.